Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with a Vulnerable Angel and friends. I am your host, the Vulnerable Angel, Dominica May. And I am joined by my regular guests, Mike and Sharad. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Why am I on this, the bottom this time? What is going on there?
It's a potato chip.
That was a
boy.
I don't know. It, to me, looked kind of like blanket texture. So it was like, I don't know, interesting. I'm experimenting a little bit tonight. I decided to live stream not just to YouTube but also TikTok. So we'll see if we get any.
Oh wow!
We'll see if we get any TikTok viewers tonight as well. Who knows?
Would it be possible to stream on Twitch as well? Maybe.
I can only stream to 2 different platforms at a time, right. And I have in the past streamed this to Twitch, but I rarely had any people pop in, so that's why I'm experimenting with TikTok. Even though we're a landscape rather than a portrait-shaped stream, we'll give it a try anyway. If you are new to this live stream show, what we do is we like to have vulnerable, deep, personal conversations about topics of our choosing. We like to get really in depth with our personal experiences. And the topic this week is movies that shaped us. Because we're all big movie nerds, and I thought it'd be a fun change from our really more I don't know, more emotionally this is still emotionally vulnerable. It can be, depending on how we go with things. Movies that shaped us can be from any time period of our lives, from childhood through till today, because maybe we saw something recently. Oh fuck, that changed my life. Do you guys want to just get started with some general discussion, or do we want to jump into questions that we have provided by a ChatGPT?
I would say, being that I'm on a bit of a time crunch, let's jump right in.
All right, we'll see if ChatGPT has some good questions for us. All right, first question. What's the first movie that made you feel truly seen, and why did it resonate?
Truly seen?
I've got one that instantly comes to mind. I don't know whether you two have seen this. It's a 2011 film called 50-50, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah. I was going to discuss that in a different question, but go ahead, please.
Well, yeah, okay. So I walked into it blind. I actually was with my cousin, and he was like, "Oh, there's this film out. We have a few hours to kill before we have this family. Do you want to go see it since we're here?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, no idea what's going on." Walked in, and have you ever had that experience where you're watching a film and then suddenly you just find yourself leaning forward, your hands are clasped on your chin, and you're just transfixed at the screen? I had never felt that way before, honestly. And this is coming from a cinephile. I was really, really, and it made me really feel seen, because one thing that doesn't just really involve men per se, but everyone, young and old, is how do we deal with tragedy, whether it's an illness, a death, and things that really make it kind of just tangible. Like the fact was, some people are trying, "Oh, you're so brave, you're so strong," and he's like, "Dude, I'm dying, man. It is what it is." And then the other times where he meets with older cancer patients, and they give him this almost kind of, "Hey, dude, just relax, man. It's cool, bro." And so you get that nice duality and everything. So I remember just feeling really changed after that because it really painted a picture that falling sick isn't a romantic thing to happen. Like you see these people physically, emotionally degrade, the people around them start to disappear or change in one way or another. And it really, really hit with me. And because this was something that wasn't romanticized, this wasn't something that's glorified. And even at the end, quote unquote, without spoiling anyone, there's a scene where the protagonist and a potential love interest are at the end, and I think she asks him, "So what happens next?" And that's when he just smiles, and the screen just fades to black. And I thought,
Yeah.
"Oh, perfect."
Yeah.
It was just good. And and it's something that really has stuck with me ever since.
Nice.
What about you two?
Yeah. This is a hard one for me, but I'm going to answer this without like, I feel like probably the answer that I should give is Alice in Wonderland, Disney's Alice in Wonderland, because it says first movie that made me feel truly seen. And I can't speak this from memory experience per se, but just from the fact that like my dad has told me that when I was young, I watched that movie over and over and again. So I can only assume it was because of it making me feel truly seen. Like, you know, Alice is in this weird and wacky world. It feels like a very autistic kind of experience, right? Where like everything around you feels weird and you're the only normal one because everyone around you is different from you. So yeah, I just have a feeling that that might be what that was about, even though I don't specifically remember that experience. So that's what I'm going to say for now, unless I can think of something else that I actually do remember.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What about you,
I don't
Mikhail?
know about the first movie that ever made me feel seen. It also kind of depends on like at different stages of your life, different movies resonate with you and make you feel seen, depending on like what age you are and what stage of life you're at, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's two movies that come to mind, and I was very different ages for both of these. The first one was the 1990 version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know, surprise, surprise.
Not necessarily.
Um,
Please go into detail about why.
for Ninja Turtles, because up until that point in my life, I never saw the Masters of the Universe movie at that time. Which, if you haven't seen it, I want to encourage you to go see it because it's so weird and gross
It's
and
beautiful.
dumb. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Courtney Cox's first movie. Anyway, but
Wow.
like
Okay.
seeing the Ninja Turtles, something that I so dearly and passionately love, like probably less dearly and more passionately loved, was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and seeing that translated to the big screen in a way that made them feel real and that it was taken seriously. None of the other movies have ever been taken seriously. Not even the animated. Well, actually, TMNT was the animated movie
The most
in
recent one.
2007. Yeah, that was kind of taken seriously. That was actually a really good movie, but like it made it feel real, and it made it feel like somebody out there knew exactly what I wanted to see as a movie, and it felt like that movie was made just for me, and it helped to validate like the things that I loved were also loved by other people, right? The second movie that comes to mind is it's a movie about improv called Don't Think Twice.
Oh God, yes. Yes.
You know it?
Yeah. Yep. I watched that movie with my entire improv troupe, like it was an outing that we did together, and it was like I don't think there were any other improvisers in the audience, so we were cracking up at things that nobody else It was an experience.
It nails so perfectly what it's like to be a member of an improv team, of an improv troupe. It nails so perfectly what it's like to be an improviser in New York City. And it nails the dynamics of there are certain people in your life, in your improv teams, in your improv communities that rise to certain opportunities because they're so fucking talented, and um, you cheer for them, but you're also so incredibly jealous of them. And that movie just it yeah, like improv is one of those art forms that is still hard to get people to take seriously, um, because it's still viewed in the arts community as um, is is redheaded stepchild an acceptable term to be thrown around? I don't know.
We'll be fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's because it's not seen as a fine art. Nor is stand-up comedy, but stand-up comedy is taken seriously by many other different communities, non-comedians to be included. So anyway, yeah, those two, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 film, and also Don't Think Twice.
Yeah, I have another one that I do actually remember. And I would say during my teen years, the movie that probably made me feel seen the most was She's All That.
Nice.
Related so much to Rachel Lee Cook's character. Now, granted, I didn't have the outcome that she had. I didn't have like any makeovers. I didn't have any guys that were like
took off her glasses and she was beautiful.
But like the aspect of, you know, being looked over, being different, not caring what other people think of me, really just kind of doing my own thing. I don't know that there were really any other teen movies that kind of addressed things in that way, especially not for a protagonist character, that I can recall. So yeah, I would say that, I mean, apart from the other movie that's basically the same movie called Whatever It Takes. It was released around the same time, but She's All That was the better film of the two. Yeah, so I'd say that one for sure. That I would say I can remember. It's like that character I can resonate or relate to so much. And then the more recently than that, one that resonated with me a lot. I wouldn't say that this like shaped my life or anything, but have you guys seen Rough Night with Scarlett Johansson?
Mm-mm.
Not off the top of my head, no.
Never heard of it.
It's, oh my god, I love this film. It's got Kate McKinnon who plays like this Australian character, and I was like, I wanted to see it in part because I'm like, let's see how well she does with the Aussie accent, and she does really good. Like I was really impressed. But that's not why this film resonated with me. It was because there was one character who was bisexual in it, and you don't see bisexual character like women characters very often, and if you do, they're sexualized in some kind of way. And so there is a time during the movie where they encounter like some neighbors who are like in an open relationship, and they proposition the bisexual girl. And she was like very not into it, and I loved that it was characterized that way because it made me feel seen, because the stereotype that is so common around the world is like bisexual people are always up for sex with anything and anyone and like whatever. And here was this bisexual female character who didn't want to be in that kind of position. Like she was like the kind of one who is more interested in like monogamy and that sort of thing. So yeah, I just really appreciated that. That I was like, finally a film that like gets it, gets that there are bisexual women who are like this. Yeah, so that was my other one, which is more recent. So Rough Night.
Two-dimensional bisexual women? What? Or
Yeah, right.
three-dimensional?
Let me look up when it was released. 2017 it came out.
No, I've never even heard of it. I'll check it out.
Yeah. It's it's a good one. So I recommend that for sure. All right. Next question. Next question. Has a film ever changed the way you view yourself or your identity?
View myself. I mean, the world around me, yes, but
yourself. This movie changed your opinion on things.
I don't know why, but for some reason, this brings me back to an Arnold Schwarzenegger film called Commando. I don't know whether either.
I haven't seen it.
He's literally
get
like
to the chopper.
That's Predator. So Commando is. Remember when I said I'd kill you last? Yeah, you did. I lied. Like, that kind of, like, he literally goes on a one-man army situation to save his daughter, and who's played by Alyssa Milano, a very, very young.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I remember watching this film, and the entire time, literally from opening credits, you see Arnold with his bicep out, and he's holding a log, and he's trekking down to his cabin, and he's like the ultimate man's man. And I remember watching that, just going, "Who is this guy?" Like, I was just this little kid, and I was like, "That muscle's the size of my head," that kind of thing. And I remember watching it; it was so cool, and he was just like, his one-liners were so zany and awesome. And I remember watching him, just going, "This guy's amazing! Like, this guy's a god." And he became my Sidney Poitier, if you would. Like, I saw him and I was like, master, okay. And ever since then, for me, that was the peak of machismo, because even though he was capable of doing everything, he also was very, very soft towards his daughter. He was fiercely loyal to his friends, and he just got shit done. So I was like, that's a real man.
Fair. I didn't know how I was going to answer this question, but you were talking about the muscles aspect made me think, okay, I guess I got a couple. This is going to be like a weird answer, I think, but what came to mind were The Fast and the Furious and Thor. And I will tell you why. Because my impression of like those big muscly guys, especially like Vin Diesel, I'm like, this, like,
it's all about family.
No. I'm not talking about the plot of the film. It was like, just specifically like that kind of man who looks like that. It was like that big muscly man. Like, I'm personally not attracted to that body type generally, right? And I'm still not like attracted to Vin Diesel, but my interpretation of that kind of body type is like, there's nothing interesting about men who look like that, like, and character. Like, how can you make interesting characters from men who look like that? Like, this is me being like very judgmental, clearly. But the Fast and the Furious movie is like, so like, I am addicted to that franchise. I've seen all of the films.
It gets more and more ridiculous.
It does. But I've seen all of the films multiple times, like at least twice each, apart from Tokyo Drift, which I've only seen once. So I had to be like, well, I guess my interpretation of men like that is wrong, because they are capable of actually making me feel emotions in the characters. Like same with Thor. Like I mean,
What emotions did you have when you watched
no,
Thor?
okay, that Thor's a little bit different. Like I'm not attracted to that body type, but fucking Chris Hemsworth is so attractive as Thor. I'm like, I guess I have to confess that there are some men with that body type that's like, okay, fair enough. Fair
I mean,
enough.
he's literally a god, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, and he's also Australian, so there's like that down to earth aspect. He's not like that, you know, he's all about the, you know, big strong buffness. Like there is personality behind that, and that's the aspect that, like, if he had no personality, and it was just like the muscles and stuff, and it was like, what? But granted, I I also like him in the old women Ghostbusters where he plays the himbo.
Oh yeah.
Because it's hilarious. And I like that it gets turned on its head. But yeah, I mean, in general, otherwise, I would be like completely against that type. And so those movies in particular changed the way that I saw myself, because I had to admit that, okay, there are some exceptions to them, my interpretation that they all suck.
Never judge a book by its cover. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna go with the classic answer of Dead Poet Society.
Nice.
But another one that was kind of on the outskirts of my mind was SLC Punk. Has anyone ever seen that film?
I can't remember if I have, but I know that I looked it up recently. Is that one with Devon Sawa in it?
It's Matthew Lillard.
Oh,
Matthew Lillard.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
So
and Devon Sawa was in it. Yeah.
See, that was why. That's why I had heard about it recently, because I was looking up Devon Sawa.
Was he the kid who died?
Sean the Beggar. That's what his character was.
He might have been the kid who died.
Sean
the Beggar? So the basic story of SLC Punk is Matthew Lillard is like a real true anarchist punk from the 90s. And I believe correct me if I'm wrong, did that movie come out in 97?
I will tell you, it came out in 1998 in Germany, 99 in the US.
1990 what?
98 in Germany, 99 in the US.
99 in the US. Okay, so it's up by 2 years. So, Matthew Lillard is like a punk in the truest sense of the word. He has like the Liberty spikes coming out of his head, you know, the eyeliner, like all the typical dress. She's just, you know, not just the Ramones, but like full on like the most punkiest music you can think of. And he just wants to fuck the system, right? And the movie starts off with a voiceover. It's like you zoom in slowly on Salt Lake City, Utah, one of arguably at the time one of the most conservative cities in the United States. And he says, like, how does a punk stand out? How does a punk impact the most amount of change or stand out the most or whatever? Where does a punk go if you really want to fuck shit up? Salt Lake City, Utah.
Of course.
Right? Of course. And so the whole movie is just him trying to fuck the system as a punk, in every sense of the word, and you know all the trouble that they get into, and again it's that outsider looking in, or the insider looking out, depending on how you see yourself. And I've always kind of seen myself as the outsider looking in, very similar to Matthew Lillard's character. Even though I wasn't into punk culture, I appreciated it. A lot of my friends were punks, and I saw this movie, and spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you how it ends. So if you don't want to know how it ends, 20 years today.
La la la, not listening. Take my headphones off. No, it's fine.
But it basically ends with him coming to the realization that if you want to change the system, you have to play the game. You can't just be the wrecking ball coming from outside, because the system is so well fortified on the inside. So you have to infiltrate the system on the inside and tear it down from within. And
kind of like what's happening in politics today.
No matter how much things change, things stay the same.
Yeah. So it ends with him like cutting his hair, getting a good job, like going to school. I think he went to school to become a lawyer, something like that. And then he started wearing a business suit. And he's like, hey, if I really want to fuck the system, I have to look like everyone else. I can't, stand out. I have to be part of the crowd and then influence from within. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool message. But then also, like I said, Dead Poet Society, Carpe Diem, like that movie fundamentally changed me. The whole end scene sequence. Oh, Captain, My Captain. Yep. Where they're standing on the desks. Such an iconic scene. And I always go back to Saturday Night Live's Farewell, Mr. Bunting. The sketch. Have you guys seen that sketch?
No.
I'm not going to. It's a recreation of the end scene from Dead Poet Society. And that's all the more I'm going to say about it. You go and watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Farewell, Mr. Bunting.
All right, I'll watch it directly. I've opened it up on my different tab. I'll watch it after we're done.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, like it's really interesting you mentioned Dead Poet Society, because I was thinking about that a lot recently. As you both know, and perhaps some of our viewers know, I was a teacher for a while, and I remember watching that the first time as a kid and just seeing how passionate this guy was, Robin Williams' character. You have to seize the day, boys. You need to do this. And I remember watching that as a kid, and I was going, well, this guy gets it. And I wish that, I think we all wish we had that kind of teacher. If we're lucky, maybe we did.
Yeah.
So
I've been lucky that I've had a few teachers like that over the years, and it had a real massive impact on me. Huge.
I personally, I'd heard so much about the film like being something that resonates with a lot of people that by the time I actually watched it, I was like, what's all the fuss about? I'm sorry. I did not get into that film at all.
You just have to ever again. That's fine.
Like maybe it was just like whatever my experience was that I was going through at the time that I watched it. Like I don't remember the specifics around that. It was quite a long time ago. It was like well before I even met my ex-husband. Because I definitely didn't watch it with him. So it was,
well, you were what, an adult when you saw it?
I was an adult. So I think I must have been in university. It was probably around the time that I was like actually studying film in some capacity. Which is probably why I was even like aware of it, because of like I have to watch the films that they tell you to watch because they're classics, right? But yeah, it just didn't resonate.
I was 14 years old when I saw it for the first time. I had no idea what it was about, like zero idea. No clue about the story. All I knew is that it had Robin Williams in it, and I knew he was funny, and everyone that I'd ever talked to said it was the most amazing film that they'd ever seen. That's all that I knew, and it looked dumb from if you just look at the movie cover. All these kids hoisting Robin Williams on their shoulders as they run past this old university. It was like, this just isn't in like an 80s 90s transitional like austere. Like it just there was nothing visually about it that captured me. And everyone was like, "You got to watch this movie." So I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll watch this movie." And it got me because it doesn't just play with themes of seize the day, make the day yours. It deals with themes of chasing your dreams, standing up to your parents, so, like, not just your parents, but standing up for what you believe in. Suicide, dealing with those really dark feelings of like I'm being told that I can't do what I want to do, and how do I, like, I don't have any other options, you know. The systemic pressures that get put on you, and how the system wants you to act, look like, talk, think. Like the whole movie, if you can boil that whole movie down into one idea, for me, it would be freedom of original thought.
Yeah.
And that concept just blew my mind of like, oh wow, there are a lot of systems that want you to think in a certain way. I believe there's a line in the movie that says, think, we don't teach these boys to be able to think for themselves. We give them an education. I'm paraphrasing. We give them an education and get them ready for college, and then they can start thinking for themselves. And I was like, what? Hang on, what? Like that just like shocked me. So
like that's a statement on America even today. I feel like
I always thought, do you think Good Will Hunting might have been an unofficial sequel to that? Because Robin Williams does play a similar character. Unofficially.
I could see the similarities. Yeah, I could see the similarities.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Mike, as you were describing the film, that I feel like the Royal Tenenbaums might be my version of Dead Society, with the themes of what you were exploring, especially the suicide part. Like that might have been my first like very distinct suicide theme film that I can recall. And like the first time maybe it's possible I need to watch Dead Poets Society again, like, because I think I've only seen it the one time, because I was not into the Royal Tenenbaums the first time I saw it. The second time around, after I'd had a chance to talk to somebody who was super into it, then I was able to appreciate it for what it was. So maybe that would be the case for me with Dead Poets Society as well. Especially like, especially because like 20 years later, right? Or more, right? Then I can, because I feel like that's something that happens for me sometimes, is like I don't necessarily have the capacity to fully understand what a film is at the time that I've watched it, but years later, I come at it with completely different life experience, and so I experience the film in a completely different way as well.
Great. Next question.
All right. What movie helped you process grief, heartbreak, or another painful chapter of your life? This is the question 50-50. That I was going to say 50-50 about. Yeah. It's a combination of 50-50 and also Life as a House. I don't know if either of you have seen Life as a House. It stars, I think, is it Kevin?
I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Hayden Christensen plays the kid in it. It's got Mary Steenburgen.
Kevin Kline.
Yeah, so I was right. Kevin Kline. Life as a House. And I first watched this film, downloaded it as a pirated film in order to watch it. Like that was how badly I wanted to watch it, because I was, had a crush on Hayden Christensen at the time. But I loved it so much that I ended up buying it on DVD. So I still got my money. Whew. And I'd seen it a bunch of times before my mum passed away, so I didn't have like that kind of connection to it. But after my mum died of cancer, like that was the film that I was like, I have to watch this in order to help me like process and experience it through another means, right? Because the film is about like Kevin Kline's character has cancer and his son does not know how to deal with it. So that's like essentially what the film is. And the way that they handle the cancer was just like felt so real, even more after my mum had passed away with cancer. Like I was already drawn to that film before I went through that experience, but it resonated so much more afterwards. Because yeah, I just love the way that it was handled. And so yeah, 50-50 is the same reason. Like the whole way that they handle the cancer experience, it was just like, yeah, this is so realistic. Life as a House, I can watch plenty of times again. 50-50, I would not be able to watch again just because of like how like it's too much. But it was really good for seeing that experience unfold in a movie.
I don't have a great answer for this because I don't think there's ever been a film or a TV show. Well, I mean, like, I don't know, when you're, well, okay, I'll say this. So while this isn't specific to the movie, when I was transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade, that summer break, I had two friends, one of which whom I had a massive crush on, massive crush, and they were both killed by an oncoming train. They were standing on the
Oh my
train
God.
tracks, and it was a whole thing. They were at a family reunion, crushing pennies on the northbound train tracks while standing on the southbound train tracks, but they didn't see or hear the southbound train come around the bend until it was too late. One
Oh
of
my
their
God.
moms saw the whole thing from like a football field away, and it was a whole thing, right? It was
Wow.
complete tragedy, horrific, absolutely horrific. And they were the first people, besides my grandmother, that I ever knew that died. They were the first people that I ever knew that died. And so while it wasn't the movie itself, and I'm going to say Mission Impossible, the 1996 Mission Impossible movie, it was the soundtrack. So I usually listen to music in times of heartache or grief or pain, stuff like that. And even still to this day, there was two songs on that soundtrack um, uh, that I will, whenever they come on, it always makes me think of those two girls, Shelly and Jessie. So, yeah, Jessie Gepfarth and Shelly Weiss. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow.
And I wouldn't have had that soundtrack if it weren't, I wouldn't have had those songs if it weren't for the soundtrack, if it weren't for the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
get it. So some soundtrack songs are just like that distinct. Like on the similar lines, like "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa from the Fast and Furious movie that was Paul Walker's last one. I don't remember which number it was, but that one always does me in because of like that's the song that they play while you're basically saying goodbye to Paul Walker because he tragically died in a car accident as they were
right.
shooting that film. And yeah, it gets me every time because it's just like it's perfect for that, and then now it's like that's my grief song in part because it's like just like but
Yep.
yeah.
I think for me, since we're talking about soundtracks as well, this kind of triggered something for me. Um, La La Land is probably a very, very good one. I find, starring Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. Um, I really appreciate the fact that you have these two people who are in a relationship, but they realize to grow they can't be together. They keep on clashing, right? So,
Mm.
and the resolution towards the end, spoilers, people. Yeah, so at the end where Mia hears music, she's now a successful actress. She goes down into this club and she sees Sebastian playing his kind of music, and he's happy. And they exchange, they lock eyes from across the room. They smile, and she walks away. And I remember, and it cuts back to him, and he's just smiling, and he's continues playing. And I remember that just goes like, wow, like that was an amazing acknowledgement at the end of the film. It's meant to be a culmination of their lives, their relationship with each other, because they're both. I mean, they both achieved their dreams, but just not with each other, and that's okay. Mm.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why I didn't like the film.
That's fine too.
I was like, look at when did it come out? It came out in 2016. So
Yeah. I also
because
didn't love that ending either, but I
I
appreciate it for what it
didn't
was.
like the entire film. I was just not into it. But like I've only seen it the one time when I went to see it in the movie theater. So I don't really remember very much about it. This is why I looked at when was it released? 2016. Okay. And I wonder if like that aspect of the plot of like you have to separate in order to, you know, have the life that you want or whatever, was contrary to the kind of life that I had wanted with the, you know, my Malaysian ex, which is like 2 years after that. Well, like, or what month was it released?
It came out in
That was
December 9th, 2016.
Okay, so it's like 2.5 years afterwards. So I don't think I was fully like over that relationship still. So, and I probably still was like, there's got to be some way to to come back together at some point. Yeah. So
Well, I mean, that's the thing that I found interesting.
yeah.
When you see Emma Stone's character again, she's a successful actress, so she achieved her goal. Um, she has a very, very loving husband, and she has an adorable daughter who's like, you know, that they're like, you know, all lovey dovey. So it goes to show that even though, let's say, maybe their characters didn't end up together, the fact was both of them ended up where they wanted to be because of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I have two more movies that I want to add to this list. Um, the first, the night of my father's burial, we all got together and we watched the movie Death at a Funeral, which was kind of
That's brave.
just a lovely
That's brave.
poetic, like it's a dark comedy. If you're not familiar with it, you know, just kind of playing the tropes of everything that could go wrong does go wrong at a funeral, and so that was a wonderful cathartic kind of release of energy. But the other one is also kind of piggybacking off of this. Shortly after my dad died, I just needed violence. I needed to watch violence in movies and TV shows. And the more violent, the more bloody, the more gory, the better. Like that was how I needed to process. And so when we had this experience of about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, when both of our cats died 7 weeks apart from each other, and it was rough. It really sucked. And so I just needed something hardcore violence to like satiate whatever pain I was feeling from the loss of our cats. And so the movie Guns
Yes.
Akimbo with Daniel
Yes.
Radcliffe just scratched that itch, because it's not only is it ultra violent, it is ultra funny. It is such a funny movie. Are you familiar with it at all, Dominica?
It's so funny.
No.
You have to.
So the whole premise.
I don't know that I even heard properly what you said.
Guns Akimbo.
Guns.
Starring Daniel
Akimbo.
Radcliffe.
Guns Akimbo.
Akimbo. Akimbo.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it.
So the whole idea is that Daniel Radcliffe is he's an internet troll. He goes into the comment section and he talks the talk, but he looks like Daniel Radcliffe, so he can't walk the walk, right? He doesn't have the guns, the stamina, the machismo, as you called it earlier, to back up his online comments. So there is this underground popular death game on the internet. I can't remember what it's called, but basically, like, if you get marked by the people who run the game, then you play the game to the death. And there's like drones flying around, and people tune in on their phones, and they watch the whole thing in real time. But basically, you have one person trying to kill another person, and after that person is killed, then somebody else gets chosen, and then you basically just have to kill each other. And
it's like Death Race, but just people on foot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So Daniel Radcliffe, being an ultra online internet troll, his apartment gets broken into by the people who run the game. They drug him or like knock him out. I can't remember exactly. And then when he wakes up, his hands have been physically bolted to guns, to handguns.
Oh my God.
Like a screw through his finger into the gun, so he can't remove his hands from the guns. They're bolted to his hands. And just seeing him try to use the bathroom, because there's a scene where you actually see his penis, and he's fumbling, like trying to like hold his penis with the gun barrels so he can pee in the toilet. It's so funny. It's so funny, and it's ultra violent, and it's oh my gosh, it's so good. Now I want to go and watch that movie right now. And it's got who's the New Zealand comedian who plays with
Rhys Darby,
Flight of the Conchords?
Oh, Jermaine Clement.
Yes, Rhys Darby. Yeah, Rhys Darby's in it. He plays like this homeless man who gives him like all this incredible life advice. It's so weird. It's just weird. Anyway, that movie gave me so much solace, and it gave me that ultra violent outlet that I needed at the time. So if you haven't seen Guns Akimbo,
all right, I'll have to put it on my list of things to check out. Yeah, I've watched like most of the other things that you guys have recommended to me. Good. So I have another answer for this as well. I mean, the answers I gave before was for processing grief, specifically death. For a heartbreak answer, I would say Crazy Rich Asians was one that helped me process my heartbreak of losing my Chinese Malaysian ex, because like, how can a romantic comedy do that? They stay together. The reason being is because the plot of the film is this Singaporean Chinese guy proposes to his Asian American girlfriend, but she's not the right kind of Asian for his parents because they are ultra rich, like his family, and so his mom.
I'll stop you real quick. I haven't seen the movie. It's on my to watch list. I just
Okay.
haven't gotten around to it.
Okay,
So
so
don't spoil the
I
ending.
won't spoil the details. But anyway, so the point is, so his mum does not approve of the relationship, and me kind of like seeing that, like, it's like she doesn't approve because even though she's Chinese, she grew up in America, so it's different kind of background,
Culture,
upbringing,
yeah.
and stuff, and yeah, different culture. So she's culturally different, and I'm not Asian at all. Obviously, you can see very white, but but
Australasian?
Yeah, I suppose so, Australasian. But seeing that is like, well, if this Western Chinese girl can't even be accepted into this Asian family, then what hope did I have as a white person that was raised in a Western country, wanting to be with a Chinese Malaysian guy? I mean, obviously Singapore and Malaysia are different countries, but there were some cultural similarities that I was kind of picking up on. And so I was like, man, and I really kind of led to me processing and thinking more about, like, wondering how much of that cultural difference or expectation on him from his parents and family, how much did that influence how he was with me and what he felt like he could have with me? Because like, by the time I watched the film, I'd completely forgotten about the fact that he had actually told me that his mum would not have approved of him being in a relationship with a white girl. So there was that. But yeah, like I said, by the time I watched the film, I'd completely forgotten about that. But it had helped me reflect back on that sort of thing and kind of look back on the relationship in a different kind of light, in terms of seeing I guess more compassion towards him and what he must have been struggling with that sort of thing, whether or not he talked to me about it. And yeah, so that was another one that really helped me process that.
Did you watch that in the cinema, or did you
Yeah.
watch it later on?
In the cinema, yeah, in the cinema. I have it on Blu-ray now, because I've seen it a bunch of times now. But yeah, that was when I saw it in the
Interesting.
cinema.
Cool.
Next question.
Which film inspired a decision, belief, or path you might not have taken otherwise? I have an idea of something that I could put for this, because I kind of it's not something that I thought about at the time at all, but when I rewatched earlier this year Bridget Jones's Diary,
Oh, that's Bridget Jones.
and seeing like like how quickly she fell in love and was thinking about marriage and wanting to get married and saying I love yous and thinking about kids, kind of made me like wonder how much of that kind of ideas in romantic comedies in general influenced why I jumped into a relationship and marriage as quickly as I did. Like, I think I wrote in my, I did an Instagram post about this. I think it was like something like, within a month, she was already like saying, I love you. And 6 weeks, she was already thinking about marriage and kids and that sort of thing. And now in my mind, I'm like, that is so fast. That is so fast. But back then for me, like in my youth, that seemed to be normal. Right. And so I jumped in a similar timeline I was like engaged after, I think 6 weeks after I met my ex-husband.
That's
Whoa.
Yeah. pregnant on the honeymoon. So like my idea of romance and love was it's supposed to be, if it's not like that fast, then is it even really real? So yeah, I guess that's and maybe there was also like the aspect of me not wanting to turn into a Bridget Jones type where I'm like still lonely with nobody in my early 30s. Like, I guess I better take the first person who comes along. Where, yeah, I think that if there'd been more films that uh, celebrated single women in their 30s when I was growing up and like happy and everything, maybe I wouldn't have been in such a rush to get married and have romance and all that kind of thing. So yeah. Rom-coms in general, but specifically Bridget Jones's Diary.
For me, I don't know why this instantly made me think of Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray, where you know, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the film, he's stuck.
Wait, who hasn't seen Groundhog Day?
You never know. Well, the fact is, like, Murray's character.
I see it every day.
Murray's character is stuck in the loop until he finds a way to break that loop. And I remember thinking to myself, I remember I was in Savannah in America at the time, and I watched it again for the 1 billionth time. And ironically enough, the next day I was at a house party and I saw someone who I met the previous day, and I was like, "Oh, she's really pretty." And 9 times out of 10, I would just be like, just hide in the corners, going, blah, 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 blah. You know,
I got that to her.
I had to. So, you know, I had a bit too much liquid courage, but like whatever. So I went up and just started talking to her, and we ended up dating for several months after that. You know, so yeah. So it just goes to show. I mean, you know, like that you have to shoot your shot. You know, and this doesn't just stick to dating. This can also be in business. The fact is, you go up to a corporate bigwig who no one would ever dare like approach, and just going, "All right, man, how's it going? How's your day?"
Like a lot of what you were talking about last week, Sharon, your experience.
Yeah, so it's literally about, you know, like you miss all the shots that you don't take. So yeah.
I'm going to focus more on the belief section portion of this question. The movie Contact with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey. All right. This movie, because I remember there. So in the 90s, the Mormon Church came out with a statement saying something like, as members of the church, we should not be watching R-rated movies. And even really, we shouldn't be watching PG-13 rated movies.
Oh my God.
I know.
Can't even.
Which, like, LDS people love to like pride themselves on the quote of, we need to be in the world, but not of the world. But then also you're preaching like conversion, and you have like, how does conversion work if not for being relatable? So how are you going to relate? Anyway, it was tangent. Anyway, so there weren't many PG rated films that we could all go and watch as a family and enjoy, that weren't like kid films, you know? And so 1994, Robert Zemeckis' Contact came out, and we drove to Erie, Pennsylvania to go see it, which was an hour and a half north.
Wow.
So like to go see a movie, that was a big outing for us. That was a big day. So the movie theater complex was called Tinseltown, and it was the first in our whole region in like a 3-hour drive radius, if not more,
Wow.
with 17 screens.
Oh, wow.
It was the
Wow.
first one that had like, and we're like, our minds were blown. We're like, 17? How do you have 17 movie screens in this building? It was like, couldn't
dope.
understand. So it was a brand new movie theater. We go in, there was like neon lights everywhere. I was just like salivating. I wanted to live inside of this movie palace. And we saw this movie, and if you've seen the movie, it starts off in like a really close-up view of like planet Earth. But like you don't see all of Earth, you just see like a portion of like one of the continents, right?
Mhm.
And then you slowly zoom out and you hear this radio broadcast of like contemporary, I think it was Spice Girls, something
Nice.
like that, like contemporary music, pop music that everyone would be listening to on the radio waves. And the further away from Earth you got, the older the music got, until you eventually like pull all the way back, and the camera pulls back, and then you see the moon pass by, and then you see Mars pass by, and then you see Jupiter and like all the planets, and then you see the sun, and you keep going further back and further back and further back until you go out of the Milky Way galaxy and you go past, and then it gets quiet and there are no more radio transmissions, and the opening in the theater is just dead quiet. And it like in the Spice Girls music, it's so loudly, it's very jarring. And then it like as you further go back, I think the first radio broadcast, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the first radio broadcast that was strong enough to be heard around the world was Adolf Hitler at the 1938 or 1940 Olympics. I want to say 1938 Olympics, something like that. And like that radio broadcast was powerful enough that it went around the world. And so that was the last radio transmission that you heard before you went off into space.
That's crazy.
And just heard nothing about it. And then eventually you keep pulling back until you get to the eye. Like the whole galaxy is contained in the eye of this little girl, and then the story of the movie starts, right?
Yeah.
And that shot was just so incredibly impactful and powerful because it set up what the whole story of the movie was going to be, which is, you get the signal from outer space. It has, plans embedded inside of the signal to build a contraption. The whole world is debating, oh, did we build this contraption that we got from an alien source? We don't know. Like, this could be a doomsday device. Where should we build it? And it was such a fascinating concept. And then the movie ends with 18 hours of static being filmed. And then Congress is arguing, like, how do you know you went on this adventure? All we see is static on here. But then someone else says, okay, well, nothing's recorded, but it's 18 hours worth of static.
Yeah.
She fell from like top to bottom in like, I don't know, 2 seconds. So why don't we have 2 seconds worth of footage as opposed to 18 hours, which we do have?
Yeah.
So it was this whole thing. There's a quote from the movie, and this is where I'm going with this whole thing. There's a quote from the movie that goes, if we're the only ones in the universe, then isn't it an awful waste of space?
That's nice. I like it.
And of course, like she, what's her bucket? She goes on this incredible adventure where she has kind of a first contact with an unknown alien something or other. Could have been a hallucination. It could have been a dream. It could have been an actual transportation that took less than a second, like a fraction of a second to do. But whatever this thing was there was evidence of her. What it was. Now I really have to go back and rewatch the movie because it was so powerful. But like during this encounter with an alien entity or whatever, she asked the question, why is this happening? Or like, why am I having this experience right now? And the answer was because that's the way things are done. And I was like, what? Like, what a kind of an answer, right? Like, and especially as a kid in 1994, growing up in the Mormon church and, being told that, we believe this and we don't believe that. And, seeing science kind of mesh in a weird way with religion, at least to me, it was one of those movies that really got me thinking about like outer space and what else is out there and what is not just space, but what's the grander scheme of life. If you do believe in a deity or a higher power or something, what is in control and who else is in contact with it? And yeah, just, I don't know. I don't have any solid like answers to this, but Contact really kind of changed a lot.
I love that, man. You're like super passionate about it. That's dope. Yeah,
I loved it. Oh, I still love it. I haven't seen it in years.
I also haven't seen it in years, but it is one of those movies that I have on Blu-ray because it is fucking incredible.
Every movie on Blu-ray.
I have so many movies. Like, you're going to love visiting me when I move to Malaysia, Sharon. We'll just watch all the movies. No, they're not leaving my house. You are watching them with me in my house.
Dominica has an entire shipping container filled with DVDs and Blu-rays.
I haven't even counted how many boxes I packed.
I think it's safe to say you have a problem, my friend.
It is not a problem if it is a part of who I am. And my collections are a part of who I am. And I like the display because it's like it shows you what kind of person I am from my wide variety of tastes. Like I sorted all of, like, prior to packing them up, my collection was all alphabetical, right? Pretty much just separated between Blu-rays, DVDs, and like TV series. But as I was packing them up, I sorted them by genre so that I could box them up by genre, so that when I don't know how long it'll take me to unpack things, but like if I'm like, you know what, I feel like watching a rom-com, let's unpack the rom-com box. It'll be easier for me to know like where everything is that way. If I don't unpack them all at once. And I'm looking forward to shelving them by genre.
That's really smart, actually. That's very smart.
Really yeah, because sometimes like I don't always remember everything that I have, but if I'm in a mood for a particular genre, then I want to actually go to a genre section, because that's how they were organized in video stores back in the day when they still existed, right? They were organized by genre. So yeah, it makes sense for me, especially with how many movies I have now compared to what used to be. It's better for them to be sorted out by genre. But yes, I have.
Friends, I think this is a natural stopping point for me. I'm going to have to love you and leave you and let you guys carry on without me, because I got to get up in 7 hours.
No worries. We only have a couple more questions. The next question was, how has a movie ever challenged your values or forced you to question what you thought you knew?
Nope. Bye. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, how do you tell me this?
Yeah, you're just gonna do that. I think Fight Club is a good answer for this one.
That's a really good one. That's a very good
one. Yeah, because it's like, because you don't know, and your question. I feel like Sixth Sense also is similar in terms of like, because they really do good at playing at what is real and what isn't, and like what is in your mind and what is real. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, The Usual Suspects definitely comes to mind. You know, without getting too much into spoiling anything, it's essentially a heist film, and when we go back, was like we're trying to figure out how this heist occurred, right? Like, how does our character end up where he is? And I just thought it was brilliant because the way that it was done and the way that it was revealed and how intricate the whole plan was. And later on, when you see the character being who you think is the main character, kind of looking around, at first you think, oh, maybe he's just he looks really bored. I wonder why he's in a police station, but he looks really bored. And then you realize he wasn't. I mean, he was doing something. And at the end of it, I literally remember, as soon as the film ends, it fades to black, and there's a loud like violin like kind of sound. I remember just sitting there, and I remember this because I was in my sixth form dorm room with 3 other guys, and we were watching it. As soon as that film faded to black, our lights were out. I remember all of us just went, "What the fuck was that?" Blew our mind.
Wait, so how old were you when you watched it? You said sixth form.
So I must have been like 16, 17.
Okay. I think I was a little bit older when I watched that film. But yeah, like I think I've already seen it a couple of times, and it's been a very, very long time since I've seen it. So all I remember is the Kaiser Sose. Like, that's all. But I was definitely very drawn to the film as well. I just don't remember a lot of details because it's been
you need to rewatch it
since I've seen it.
Yeah,
but it's like Kevin Spacey's in that film, right?
Okay, here's what I'll say about that. Okay, like here's what I'll say about that.
Like, that's the main reason I haven't gone and rewatched
I
it.
think it's okay to appreciate the art regardless of the artiste. So and obviously with Spacey, the way I look at it is he was playing the lead, yes, but he didn't write the film, he didn't produce the film. He was a very, very small part in the overall scheme of things. So, but yeah, I think it's fine.
No, I get that. That's a whole thing. I do have those kinds of thoughts around. We had the whole podcast about questionable public figures a while back. So I think we talked about Kevin Spacey in that. Yeah, I mean, I've loved so many things that he has done before. Like, I was a huge fan of House of Cards, and so. And then, like, during the final season was like when they were working on the final season when they, So the final season went completely different direction than probably they thought it was going to go originally.
It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, it is. I feel like it's one that I need to do a rewatch for, because it is one of those classics. If you are a film nerd, that like you need to see, for sure.
There was another one that comes to mind. Have you ever seen? I'm sure you have, The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh yes, I rewatched that actually not that long ago.
Oh, good. And one thing I appreciated about it was a mixture. Like, the lesson I took away from it is, there can be a point where you're too nice, where it's actually a detriment to you. But at the same time, be happy with who you are, you know. But like, it just goes to show that no matter how bad you think you have it, at least you've had sex before 40. So.
You know what? That's not the takeaway that I took from it. So when I rewatched it this year, it was I didn't remember really any of the details at all. So rewatching it this year, 41. What a good time to be watching, I suppose. My takeaway from it was more of along the lines of, like, don't like try and
Mhm.
force yourself to get into something
Not
if
really,
you're
yeah.
not
Mm.
feeling it, and trust your instincts about what is right for you, because the relationship that he had with, was it Mary Steenburgen?
I think so.
The girl, the lady that he was dating, like that was such a wholesome
It was.
relationship. And the fact that he didn't have the sexual experience was actually a benefit, because it allowed them to develop a stronger emotional connection, because he was so freaked out about having sex, right? So yeah, I think that allowed their relationship to develop more fully, and I really appreciated that side of things. Like it felt like very forgiving, and it felt like very celebratory for Steve Carell's
Mhm.
character. Like, it's okay to have this kind of life, and maybe it's going to be a challenge the first time, or first couple of times or whatever, and maybe it's going to be hard for you to even broach the topic of I still haven't had sex with anyone. But like, he was way more uncomfortable in all the other kind of situations that his friends kept trying to push him into. So yeah, I think overall it had a really good message.
So good, and like it's one of those films that I think actually stands the test of time. So it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also. Have there been any others that I feel like there must have been other things that have like challenged my perspective on things, especially like I would say probably Selma,
Ah,
which is
yeah.
the Martin Luther King Jr. story. I didn't know anything about that history beforehand because I wasn't raised in America. But it gave me like I felt like it gave me a really good perspective of that time period. Same with Loving, which was the story of Loving versus Virginia, which is the first interracial marriage in America, and how that came about. Yeah, so like, those are like the really eye-opening kinds of films. Hidden Figures, another one, like realizing how much impact these Black women had on the
Mm-hmm.
space race. Like, they don't teach
No.
you that kind of thing in school, right? So those were definitely like challenging perspectives, and I really love films like that get me to see things that they don't teach you in the history books.
Yeah, like I'm just looking up like the fact that you just mentioned that, like it kind of triggered a memory for me. Hang on, there's this one film starring I know it stars Benedict Cumberbatch. The
The
Imitation.
Imitation
Oh,
Game.
you beat me to it. There you go. Imitation Game. There you
Of course I
go.
know that. Yeah, no. I was just thinking about that film recently, actually,
Yeah, like
as
you
well.
were
Yeah.
just talking about Selma, that instantly sprang to mind for me. And yeah, it just goes to show that like, and obviously I spent a very very big part of my life in England as well, so I was very
Mhm.
familiar with that kind of scholastic education system, and yeah, so it definitely rang true for me. And yeah, I remember watching it, just going spot on.
Yeah. There's so many really good historical movies that tell you like a different perspective
Mm.
of
Yeah,
things,
like it's
for
really
sure.
interesting as well when you mentioned racial films or films that discuss it. Um, it really hits home that I'm in a position of privilege where you watch it and you're shocked by it and you're like, this can't be real,
Mm.
and then you actually do your research and you're like, this is actually just like skimming the water. Yeah,
the
yeah,
surface.
and
Yeah.
it goes to show that like we all, I mean, humanities, we are where we are because of some of the horrific stuff that we did. It goes to show that
Right.
it reinforces that. I remember like thinking as as a young man, I was just like, well, how could this have happened? Like this doesn't make sense. But then I
Mm.
realized,
Yeah.
aren't we doing the same thing now?
I think that like the ones that strike me more are the ones that are more uplifting and positive outcomes, like Hidden Figures, Selma, and Loving, versus like I remember when I went to see Django Unchained
Django.
and feeling like and just feeling like this is slavery porn. Like that's what it felt like to me. It's like it felt like they were glorifying slavery in a way, or is a way to present like I mean, depending on what kind of person you are when you're watching the film, if you are racist, it would be like, yes, they deserve that kind of thing. Like that's kind of how it felt. But at the same, like while I'm watching it, I'm just like, is this the only kind of Black history that you feel like you can show that that you're willing to cast them in? Like, give them more positive films that like are not just glorifying slavery. Basically, that was my takeaway
But
from
at the
seeing
same
that
time, though, like
film.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it. But at the same time, I think it's also good that they're putting a spotlight on it because I always like live by the mantra that those who don't know the past are doomed to recreate it.
Right, but the filmmaker who made it was a white guy, right? Like,
Tarantino, yeah.
right, exactly. And so that's my point. Like, if it was made by a Black
Mhm.
director, I think I would have been maybe more okay with it. Like, the director was
Yeah.
a Black director. So the thing is, like, I feel like Black people should be telling their own
Mhm.
stories, not a white person coming in and inserting
Sure,
their own kind
sure,
of
but um,
thing into
I
it.
don't know. This is a very interesting subject because, like, for example, with Black Panther, the Marvel film that came out, I thought it was a fantastic movie. It made, I think, billions. Right? It broke the $1 billion mark.
It did
Yeah,
amazingly well.
and it was a good film. It was a good film, and but I think that's a really tricky situation because uh, I remember thinking like,
That's not a
oh,
historical
no,
film. Like I'm talking about
no,
specifically
but
historical
like, for
films.
example, like if it goes to a point where people are safeguarding who is allowed to do what. For example, like a completely different example could be something more recent. Let's say with Star Wars. When they I think I've mentioned this about how much this is seared into my memory now. This television show called The Acolyte, and oh, and
Uh-huh.
and I remember there's this huge hoopla between that came from the producers and the showrunner, like saying, "Oh, we need to tell these stories because people are underrepresented and these are important." And I'm like, I hear you, but aren't you sacrificing the story just to get your message out? At the end of the day, and I remember being told this from a very, very young age when I was learning how to write. It wasn't, like, what's the story that you want to tell? What's the message you want to give?
Mhm.
And, but at the same time, if let's say if you have a message you want to share, by telling your story, are you preaching? Are you standing on top of
Mhm.
your soapbox yelling at people saying, look at how wonderful I am, take notice of me, and if you don't, you're an awful person? And I go, well, but at the same time, for any film ever since, I dare say, since the early 20th century, the point of a film was to escape. Yes, it's to educate,
Mhm.
yes, but at the same time, it's meant to take you away and put you into a magical world, and all your fears, all your worries, all just
Sometimes.
disappear. And so, yeah,
If all it was to do was to entertain, then we wouldn't be having this specific live stream discussion about movies that shaped
very true.
us. Movies serve a lot of different purposes depending on, you know, what what their goal is, I suppose. Like some, for sure, their only goal is to entertain. Others are to educate. So, yeah. And then there's others like have no goal whatsoever, and those ones generally are shit because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Like, that's the thing with the recent Superman film. The one key takeaway I got away from it was, and this is a line that they repeated as well as in marketing, that kindness is the new punk rock. And I was like, yeah, that's dope. You see Superman, he's saving everyone. He's saving cats, dogs, like people in tree or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it just goes to show that this being who's genuinely one of a kind, nothing is beneath him. Nothing is, like he's willing to do it for everyone. Yeah. Which is what we should be doing. Mm-hmm.
Yes. More kindness. All right. Are you ready for the
last question?
Last question. What film do you return to for comfort, and what need does it fill for
I think
you?
this is an easy one. Princess Bride is my obvious answer. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
because
a good one.
well, the premise, I mean, the device of the film in terms of how it's told, obviously it's based on a book. Okay, so just for some historical context for our viewers, the first time I watched it, I remember I was very, very young. I can't tell you how old I was, and I wasn't feeling well. I had missed school, and my mom's like, "Oh, here's a movie that I rented. I think you might like it." And I remember she was feeding me chicken soup.
So like a copy of the
and I remember
film.
watching it, and I was just like, I remember just going, "What is this, Mommy?" She's like, "Oh, watch what someone said that you might like it." And I was like, "Oh, I know that kid. He's from Wonder Years, and he isn't that Detective Columbo?" She's like, "Yes, shut up, watch it." And I remember watching, and that film was literally me, what was happening to me, and then the story, which was an amazing story. And I remember, like, because even back then, I had this huge like sense of creativity and excitement and what have you, and imagination, I should say. And I remember just watching that film and just going, that was perfect. Every time I watched that film over and over again, I think I actually damaged the tape because of how many times it had been rewound. And to this day, it's my comfort film. I've got every version of it released. I've got the special editions, the Blu-rays, the VHSs, the DVDs, the VCDs. I've got the book, and I've got, I think, one of the making of things over there as well. And it's my ultimate comfort.
Wow. I have it on DVD. I think I have the book of it as well. And I also have Carrie Elwes's memoir, As You Wish. But I didn't grow up with that film, and I have no idea why. I hope my dad comments when he watches this later to say, because I'm sure my dad must have seen this film, but I do not remember watching it growing up as a kid. I didn't watch it until like much later. I don't know, like might not have been until I was in university that I saw it for the first time. I know, right? Like that's weird because it was like it was definitely one of those films that should have been part of like like the Goonies, Neverending Story. Like it was in that category of film, right? But I never watched it when I would watch all of those other films.
Goonies and Neverending Story, another two immortal shouts. Well done.
Oh yeah, those two, and then also Hook. Hook was fucking. I think that was like I have not seen that one for years either, but like since like shortly after I moved here, I think was the last time I watched it. But like that was definitely another one of those like, oh my god, like the special effects in that film when they create the food and like out of nothing and like all of that stuff, like it's like, oh my, it's like just blown away, right? So many amazing things in that film. man, we grew up with
Some
some
bangers,
really
yeah.
cool films. Yeah. I was actually going to comment, like, I know Mike's not here anymore, but when he was talking about the Ninja Turtles movie, and like how true to the characters that was, I wanted to be like, as opposed to the Super Mario Brothers movie that didn't take itself seriously in the same kind of way.
His name is Mario. I'm Luigi Mario. All right, John. All right. You can tell Bob Hoskins is just like he did not want to be there.
Classic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So my comfort film, I suppose I have a few. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Question though, do you think sometimes we confuse comfort for nostalgia?
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, nostalgia can be comfort, like, because if it takes you back to a time in your childhood, like we all still have the child version of ourselves inside us, right? Like we all do, and that is usually the part of us that we need to soothe whenever we're going through something challenging. And so it makes sense to want to go back through that nostalgia to like comfort that child that is still within us. So I've definitely had nostalgia films that have been my comfort films, like Goonies is definitely one of them. Such a good film.
So good. Still holds up. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. My first answer I wanted to give was The Proposal
with Sandra Bullock
rom-com with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds.
Surprisingly good film.
Yeah, I love it. Like, it's very different because like Sandra Bullock is older than Ryan Reynolds, right? So it's like that kind of dynamic. She's his boss, and he is just like, he's not even wanting, like she's like trying to come on to him because of like she needs to face her.
And he's just like, are you well?
And so, but then they end up falling in love with, and it's just so wholesome.
It's a good
and like my favorite scene in it is just like when they both end up naked, like smacking into each other and like freaking out about it, right? Like while we're pretending to be like actually in love with each other in front of his family in Alaska. I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like it brings me so much comfort. And
my favorite scene from that film, and this is just brought up something that I can't stop laughing. It's the bit when she's with the grandmother and they're outside, and then she just starts chanting like, "Hey, huh." And then she goes, windows, walls, just around my balls. And she just starts like singing and dancing. Everyone just goes, "What are you doing?" I remember watching that and screaming, "That's Chef's Kiss." To the window.
I've seen some like behind the scenes stuff where between them and Betty White, and like Betty White is totally like in love with Ryan Reynolds, but like hates Sandra Bullock. This is like no, I mean it's like a jokey kind of thing. It's like not real, but like that's and it was just like hilarious that it's like, well, why can't I get Betty White to like me?
Oh, that's so funny. I might have to look that up actually. That's great.
So that's one of my comfort films. Another one is Zoolander, just because I just find that film so hilarious. And like, because they're so dumb. But like there is joy in that dumbness.
There's a certain purity in that film that I don't think we get anymore.
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that was the film that was like really made me all about Owen Wilson for sure.
I think mine for him was Shanghai Noon. That's when the first time I think.
Yeah, I don't think I'd seen Shanghai Noon yet, and I went back and watched it afterwards. And I was like, I love those films as well. But Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights, I haven't seen those for years. Have them on DVD. Like I have all of these things, and I just need to go back and watch them.
Released on DVD at this point.
Just all the really good ones. All of the really good ones. I like so many things. And I've been recently buying some that I didn't have because I'm like, I have to have this
collection
film.
bigger than Netflix. It's ridiculous. You're like a Netflix
No, it's not that much, but it's definitely in the hundreds for sure. Because like my boxes that I was packing would fit about 50 movies in
And you
each
kept
of
them
them.
in the case?
Yes, in the cases. If they're the DVD size cases, some Blu-rays have thinner cases, which meant I could fit
Nice.
more than
Nice.
50 in a thing. So I don't know exactly how many I have. Like I could count the boxes and I still wouldn't be able to tell you exactly how many I have. But it's definitely in the hundreds, if not 1,000, maybe. I mean, some of them are TV series as well, though. So we'll see. Maybe we'll figure it out when I unpack them.
Nice.
Yeah, so Zoolander and The Proposal would be my big return to for comfort films. I'm sure there are other ones that I have like returned to every now and then, but it's usually if I'm feeling a moment of nostalgia for some reason for a particular film. Rather than anything else.
It's really interesting that you mentioned the Goonies because, like, like every time I watch that film, you get that sense of camaraderie you had with your childhood friends. The idea, like, when we were younger, you could run out of the house or get into or ride your bike and just go and hang out with your friends, and you end up in this extraordinary adventure that parents aren't allowed to or adults aren't allowed to be a part of. It's your little secret. And I mean, that always hits home for me. Always hits home.
I feel like this is actually, I'm going to pull the question down now and talk about this. Because this is something that I was talking to my son about like over the last few days or a couple of days. My son is 15 now.
Wow.
And we, as I mentioned to you before we started streaming, we just went to see the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie. And he came out of the film declaring it, I think that's the best film I've ever seen. And I'm like, you haven't really actually seen that many films though.
Good,
like, so it's not like a lot to compare to. Now, granted, that film was incredible, and I'm not like discounting his experience.
This is the best film you've seen so far.
Yeah. But it got me thinking a lot about like, like he was telling me today because he had like a presentation that he had to do with his advisor and me at school today. And as we were walking back, he was talking to me about how like he just generally prefers animated films. And I'm like, but you really haven't seen that many live action films to compare them to. And I'm like, I'm thinking about, what this. I don't feel like there are that many live action children's films made today compared to what there were back in the 90s. Like there were a lot more classic family live action films that were made back then compared to now.
Well, that's they still have them now, but they're more part of a corporate machine where they're hitting all these plus points that they have today.
Okay, but what name some?
I can't.
The last one that I could think of was A Wrinkle in Time, and maybe like the Percy Jackson films. But they're all of the ones that they make today tend to be based on
or pre-existing IPs.
Pre-existing IPs. There's nothing original like the Goonies.
It's tricky
anymore.
though because as a writer as well, I remember I was told like many years ago when I was getting my break into the film industry, at the end of the day though, who signs your checks? It's the bigwigs, the production houses, and what have you. And unfortunately, original films, unless you're a bankable asset, no one's going to take a chance on you. No one.
I wonder if part of the reason they've changed it was because of working conditions for children and how much CSA there was in those kinds of films.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
But like they should have at least been able to come up with like workarounds to make it safer for them to shoot films like that. I feel like it's just because there's just something different about seeing a live action film compared to an animated film. I'm not saying I don't want to compare them because they are different, and I don't think that one is better than the other or anything like that. But I think it's important for kids to be able to see live action films as well as the animated ones, because that can be a way to develop more empathy for real people as opposed to animals that look like people and things, right?
Like, I mean, it's tricky because if you watch, let's say, the Babe and Babe Pig in the City, those films are fantastic. But I think those films, one reason why those films stand the test of time is because it's live action, right? It's the same thing with Miyazaki's Spirited Away. I think if that was live action, I don't know if it would be very different. It would be very, very different. Whereas with the anime style, that's what really kind of shaped it the way it has. Movies that shaped it. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think you need to have all, but like, yeah, I'm. It's just really kind of picking things up for me now, and I'm just like, I hope that when we move, my son will be more open to watching more different movies now. Like, he's 15, so he can watch almost anything. You know, he was required to have a parent with him to go see the Demon Slayer movie because it was rated R here. But I saw like a parent who'd brought kids younger than him to the movie, so clearly I'm not alone in thinking that it was fine. Like I can understand, like there was a lot of blood in it, but it's like it's animated blood. It's not like seeing live action movie with fake blood. Right? It's not the same.
It's not as if you're seeing this guy like doing multiple decapitations and like live action.
So yeah, anyway, what do you feel like? We're done with the ChatGPT questions, but like I don't know if that's enough. Like, are there any, aside from The Princess Bride, are there any other films that you feel like particularly nostalgic for that did have an influence on shaping you as like through your youth and how you grew up?
Now that you mention it, yes. And since we're on the animation train, Disney's Robin Hood. That was, I mean, to be fair, like the animation style was so unique that they it's very archaic now and wouldn't be done anymore just by how
I wish they would, but I've read that they don't even have the technology to make animated films like that anymore.
Probably
like they just got rid of the technology.
Yeah, because I think it wasn't rotoscoping. I think that was done in the Lord of the Rings animated film with Ralph Bakshi. But with that Robin Hood Disney the Disney version, I loved it because it was so unique. Everyone was animals per se, and it was just it was clear every scene you could tell there was a reason for it being there. So if I have putting my writer's brain on I'm okay. This scene tells us this. This scene's good for that. This scene's good for that, and it's perfect, literally perfect. And it's something that I enjoyed as a child, something I enjoyed as a teenager, something I enjoyed as an adult.
I feel like, this is making me think of along similar lines, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, like influenced probably some of my. I feel like that had so much influence over my humor, and like there are no other films that are specifically like that. Even other Mel Brooks films are not like that, right? Because none of them have the musical component to them the way that the Men in Tights do.
No, not really,
yeah. So yeah, there was just something about the style of that whole, and the jokes, they were just like so spot on and well written that and like there were smart puns, right? Like a lot of people like stick up their noses at pun jokes, but when you get like a really clever one, And they're actually really dumb, like things like the prince's mole being in different places, and like there's
I
like
have a mole.
I have a mole. I know. And like using weird words like latrine, like you're like learning things like what the fuck is a latrine?
Yeah.
Latrine.
Shit house. So good. Mervin? Your name is Mervin? It's so good.
So many quotable lines in that film.
Yeah.
I don't know if it like I doubt that it had influence over me wanting to like get into filmmaking or anything like that, but it absolutely had an impact on my sense of humor for sure. I would say shaped it. I have a very broad sense of humor, but that was a big one for me.
You could tell that they really had fun making that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So much. That chastity belt. She's got a chastity belt.
I'm gonna change
Call-
my name.
Call the locksmith.
I really remember like, oh, you're not gonna believe this. What? The key doesn't fit. What? Oh, so good. So good.
Oh man, I didn't really watch
It's just
that
little
film
things
too.
like you see Dom DeLuise in there, and he's like, "Welcome," but and he just takes the cotton balls out of his mouth and just like,
yes. And now you can understand him.
now I understand it. I remember as a kid going, "Why is he doing that?" And then when I was an adult, I was like, "Nice."
Are there any films that you feel like shaped your sense of humor like that?
I think that, I mean, that's definitely a big one. Mel Brooks is definitely S tier, I think, in terms of that. Another person I don't think that kind of gets any as much recognition, I think, because he's done a few stinkers over the years, was probably Adam Sandler films.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, The Wedding Singer, and all that. Those films were classic.
That reminds me, I don't think I've talked to you about this film. Have you seen the third Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler rom-com Blended?
I have not.
I didn't even know that this film existed until recently.
Tell me about Blended.
Checked it out from the library, and then I just absolutely adored it so much that I bought it immediately. It was cheap, so it was fine. But it is about like blending two families. Like she is divorced with two sons, I think, and he is his wife passed away, and he's raising daughters, and they get set up on a blind date together, and it's terrible. They hate each other, and like they just form immediate opinions of each other as like they think they're both horrible, and then they end up getting into a situation where they both take a trip to Africa together because they're using the tickets of his boss's kids and her work partner. His boss had planned on taking her on this trip to as introducing her to his family, and like they were going to get married and like this kind of thing. But once she learned that he had kids, she flipped out and broke it off. And so, but he'd already paid for these tickets, so they end up taking the tickets instead and end up having to pretend that they're together. It's because they're using these other people's tickets. And so through the course of the story, they get to know each other more. There are not very many. I feel like this is another one. Like this has definitely shaped me because there are not very many films or rom-coms that are about single parents. And as a single parent, like that's the kind of rom-com that I need nowadays. You know? Yeah. I felt that way with the most recent Bridget Jones movie as well, Mad About the Boy. She's a single parent raising two kids after her husband passed away. And yeah, there just needs to be more of that sort of thing. It's just like it resonates a lot more. How many single mums are out there? Like, write more rom-coms.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there is a market for it. Number one, because there are people who see themselves on screen, and also because it's something different. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, but mind you, this is also a double-edged sword because I think if you go too far into that, for example, recently with what they did with Star Wars with the Acolyte, like,
As
yeah,
long as you have like a message that you're coming from it where it makes sense and people can, I don't know, as you're not like drilling home into people, like it's part of the story, but it's not the point of the story.
the device, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That makes perfect sense. Like I remember, like, you know, there's something there was this one, I can't remember if it was a film, but you know, like the main character was a child, and he watched something on TV and it spoke to him, and I remember just going, yeah, like that's the point. Like if you know, whether you're a child or whether uh, you're an adult in your twilight years, you want to see something that you resonate with. Otherwise, what's the point? You're just looking at a screen. So
Yeah. We can continue chatting a little bit. I do notice we have a viewer. If you are interested in asking us any particular questions on the topic of films or movies that shaped us, feel free to drop them in the chats. Otherwise, we will probably wrap up soon anyway. I promised my daughter that I would chat with her in another 15 minutes from now. So she's like, don't be boo. She's finally actually opening up to me about some stuff that has been going on with her, and I want to make the time to listen to her. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard, right? My son is a lot more open with me about what's going on with him. So I'm grateful for the fact that my daughter is starting to be more open. Or it's hard. It's hard, man. She's 18, figuring stuff out.
Well, I mean, we've talked about your son's kind of experience with films. What about hers? Does she like films?
She's also not really a film person, but I have managed to get her into some things. Like I showed her a couple of Alfred Hitchcock films, which is like classic. Like I love when I can do that sort of thing. Like, you have to watch this really old film with me.
There's a bit of trauma for you.
Yeah. So there was a reason why, I can't remember specifically why, but I remember showing her the Alfred Hitchcock film Rope.
Nice, okay.
I think that was the first Hitchcock film that I showed her, specifically because of maybe it was something to do with similar to something that she had written about, and I'm like, oh, let me show you this thing because I think you'll connect with it. Have you seen Rope?
Not for a long time, but I have seen it. Yeah.
I showed her Murder by Numbers for the same reason, because Murder by Numbers is based off of Rope, or it was inspired by Rope, which is the exact reason why I watched that film. So yeah, that's a good one. And then I showed her The Birds as well, because and she was like, this is not that scary. I'm like, I was so scared when I watched that movie. I'm like, this should not be rated PG. What?
It's really interesting because if we're looking through a prism of time, a lot of people, younger people, and I'm sure, to be fair, us to an extent as well, we're like watching something, we're like, what is this? And people be like, oh, like maybe the special effects don't look good, or we don't feel that emotional kind of like we should. And I'm just going, well, I mean, these are the reason why we have the productions we have now.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, that was definitely one of the things that I really appreciated about like doing media studies and getting to watch, like being forced to watch older
Yeah.
films. Like I don't know that I ever would have watched Blade Runner if it wasn't for the fact that I had to in my film studies. Same with Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. I think that was my first Alfred Hitchcock film, was Rear Window. I didn't watch Psycho until much later. Like it was like well past. Like I think I'd seen Vertigo before that. I'd seen The Birds and Rope, obviously. Yeah, it was a while longer before.
Well, let's say that. Like, I remember for the longest time, like Casablanca, like that was a big one. And I remember like watching, like seeing the poster. Everyone's like, "Oh, you have to watch this." I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't look for me. Doesn't look for me. And then when I was at university, we had to watch it, and I remember just being like that, and I was
mesmerized by it.
This is a great film.
I actively chose to watch that film. It's not the one that I had to watch in film studies, and I'm so glad I did. It is really a classic, and like there are classics that are like that, and you're just like, oh my god, no wonder. Like there have been other classics that I've watched because of Simpsons references, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Nice.
I watched that specifically because of the Simpsons spoof part of that film. Yeah, this so many classic old films that act like still resonate and have an impact, and they're like really important to really understand the history of film, because without which, you know, we wouldn't have other films today, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's not about really about the time. It's about the human condition. These films, something that resonates with for all of us.
Yeah. I was thinking also, I just remembered, like in terms of films that shaped us, I remember, like I answered about the Bridget Jones's Diary, but the other film that I like when I rewatched this year was Titanic, and I realized like how much I connected with the story that I just did not when I first saw it, because I was like 14 when I first saw it in the movies. You know, intermission and everything back in those days in 97.
Wow,
but like,
oh, that's crazy.
That rewatching it in 2025, I was like, oh man, I had a Jack and I had a Cal and I was Rose. Like the obviously the setting was different. I wasn't on the Titanic, right? But like the characteristics of those characters were like, oh, I had exactly like that. And then recognizing that the reason that Rose was so connected to Jack was because he gave her permission to be herself, right? Like she was allowed to just be free and
whatever she wanted.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man. No, and like it didn't matter that he was poor and like compared to Cal, who was rich. Like I was like,
he was
oh man,
guy, he had empathy.
Yeah. So I think that had a lot of influence over why money was never an influencing factor about why I might have been attracted to someone. Like money clearly doesn't matter as like all of these other qualities. Right?
In some ways, money seems to be a kind of a corruptive thing rather than anything else.
Yeah. So, all right. So it does seem that my dad has been watching a little teeny bit. So he has got a brief comment here. So he says old influential films to him, saints films like Francis of Assisi, Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, Shakespeare movies, biblical movies, special effects breakthroughs, King Kong.
Yeah, like going through my my classes at university, especially with, like King Kong did come up, and I remember like people were saying, my professors were saying, oh, at that time, you know, when allegedly when people were watching the cinema, people were like fainting because they were just like, what is this? And it was
never seen anything like it.
Larger than life thing. So yeah, I get it.
For sure. Yeah, he said he was in a shopping center and just leaving the one above.
Cool.
All right. I guess we may as well leave it there. Like then I can go and chat with my daughter. Oh no, I was gonna shut up. I was gonna. I had another answer to your question about my daughter's films. The other thing that we watched, we have tended to watch together has been anime films, like specifically Miyazaki films. Have been like really, superb for us. Like we watched Ponyo together.
Really? Oh, that's dope. I love that.
I think that might have been the first Miyazaki film that we all watched together, and I had never seen it before. I mean, we might have watched other ones when the kids were younger, but like this was in the last few years. And then Howl's Moving Castle, which is like my absolute favorite Miyazaki film. That I think that was the film that really got me into like anime. Not that I like watched a huge amount of anime after that, but like and that was after Spirited Away, right? But I preferred Howl's Moving Castle over Spirited Away, and it just like that one just blew my mind. And so like at the time, I think I would be if anyone asked me why I liked anime, it would be because of that film.
I mean, it's really interesting with Miyazaki because whenever I watched animation or anime, it's meant to make you excited. It's meant to like, oh my god, look at this action, it's incredible. But Miyazaki, I remember as a kid, I was like, I feel something. What is this? And I hadn't gotten that to that point. So that's
so much anime today. I feel like everything that I watch gives me feelings. Like I am constantly crying and in tears with whatever I'm watching. Like almost constantly, it feels like just a little drizzle of tears in my eyes, or like genuinely weeping so much. Like when I saw the Demon Slayer movie with my son on Tuesday, like the moment the film started, my eyes started welling up in tears just because the music and the anticipation and like the animation, like that's just like there's no story yet. I was already welling up with tears. Like, what the fuck is this? And then it's like throughout almost the entire film, I had some level of tears. Right? Sometimes I'm just like, weeping, and sometimes it's like just a little bit. But it's like that fucking amazing, like just. It doesn't matter that I already knew exactly what was coming because I've read the manga. It was just like, it is a different experience to see it animated, right? Compared to reading it in full color. The extent of the Infinity Castle, especially because a book cannot really capture what you can see in the screen for that complex structure. I don't know. There's just something about things that's just like really.
There's something about Mary. There's something about anime. There you go.
I need to rewatch that film too, which I also have on DVD.
You know what I'm talking about.
That was I'm just it's hair gel. It's just hair gel. Okay. That is the classic
iconic
scene.
One, yeah.
That's the iconic scene, exactly. All right, so we'll finish up. We will be back sometime next week, most likely. I just realized today this is like 10 months we've been doing this now. We started 20th of November, this series started. So we're 10 months that we've been doing this show. Which
doesn't feel like it at all.
It doesn't. No. How has it been that long? That's crazy. So we'll be back again sometime this next week. Maybe the same day, maybe not. It depends on people's availability. Different topic. Feel free to tune in or have a look at the YouTube channel to see when we're coming up. If you're not already subscribed, please do so, and then hit the notification bell. That's right. So then,
where you're from,
then you will know when we're actually live. You'll get a notification, so you don't have to be following the page. It's like, where? Please update me. I want to know what it's going to be, because that's the only way. I very rarely pre-announce when it's going to be. apart from the YouTube channel. Yeah. So if you have any additional comments that you would like to share with us, tell us about your own movies that shaped you in the comments.
Please.
We'd love to hear about that as well.
That'd be dope.
I'm autistic, so I connect by hearing other people's experiences that relate to my own. That's how we empathize. Yeah. So
Your love
until
language.
that's my autistic love language. Yes,
That's your love language.
please tell me. That's how I get to know people. All right. Until next time. Bye.